We need to start talking to strangers again. We need to stop looking at our devices with our heads down and being antisocial, and we need to start taking a moment and talking to the people around us. The reason I'm saying this is I have had far too many instances in my life where I have some of the most memorable moments because I took a moment and talked to someone I never knew before. I had an instance at the Apple Store. Actually, I have a couple instances when I hit the Apple Store, but this one in particular was I had gone to the Apple, I was waiting at the tables like they put you there, and there was two men sitting across the table from me. Blue-collar workers, seemed friendly enough, but you could tell that they were making the Apple Store employee uncomfortable by how friendly and casual they were being with him. When I sat down, they engaged and struck me up in conversation. And during that conversation, we started talking. And what we ended up talking about was the fact that they had been victims of the Fort McMurray fire and what they had gone through and how kind and everyone had been to them. And the one guy started breaking into tears because he couldn't actually fathom the generosity that he had experienced from across Canada as to what everyone had done for him that didn't know him. And they didn't even know anything about him, but they gave to him just because they could. And the interesting part about that is I watched the Apple Store employee completely change his demeanor and how he spoke to them and treated them because of the fact that he realized their story. And there's a lot of amazing stories out there. Another opportunity I had at the Apple Store was when I was sitting waiting for my device, and a blind man with a seeing eye dog sat down beside me, and we were sharing a table, and he struck up a conversation with me. I was looking down at my device, and thank goodness that he couldn't see that, because otherwise he might not have struck that conversation. But him and I talked about politics, we talked about the Olympic bid, we talked about his home, we talked about his wife and his travels, and honestly, I left there that day invigorated and with a ton of energy because it was honestly such an amazing conversation. And the big thing is sometimes if you strike up these conversations, at the end of it, you're no longer strangers and now you're friends. And the thing that you also have to remember, of course, is if you're under the age of 18, listen to your parents and don't talk to strangers. If someone is talking to themselves, they're obviously already engaged in a conversation, so don't interrupt. Or if they're sitting in a corner and they're twitching, maybe you're better off to call 911. Make a judgment call, but the next time that you're standing in an elevator and everyone's awkwardly looking at the floor or looking at the ceiling or just the numbers on the door waiting for their floor, strike up a conversation. Ask them how their day is. You see a man going down the street in his scooter because he can't walk in a flame shirt, say, "Go Flames, go." So feel free to take a moment and don't marginalize or minimize the amount of impact that some amazing conversations that you can have with strangers.